three-man roster for the 2021 season. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how that breaks down. At quarterback, they took two of them, Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. No surprises here. It was clear once the team released Josh Rosen that they would only carry two quarterbacks on the active roster. Nate Sudfeld will likely be signed to the practice squad. Running back, they kept five there. Raheem Mostert, rookies Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell, as well as second-year running back JaMycal Hasty, and Kyle Juszczyk at fullback. Hasty led the NFC in preseason rushing yards at 176 and touchdowns with 3. This performance was enough to earn him the final spot among the running backs over Wayne Gallman. At wide receiver, the 49ers kept 6. Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk were the returning starters. Trent Sherfield, who was added from Arizona, Mohamed Sanu, Juwan Jennings, and everybody's favorite, Jalen Hurd. Entering training camp, most figured that Trent Sherfield might have a shot to sneak onto the roster due to his prowess on special teams. However, the free agent acquisition from the Arizona Cardinals ended up being the third best receiver in camp and became a lock for a roster spot. Jalen Hurd appeared to be on the bubble early on due to injuries. However, the third-year receiver was able to make it through the final week of practice and the final preseason game healthy and is now in line to take part in his first regular season game of his career. At tight end, the 49ers kept 3, George Kittle, Ross Dwelley, and Charlie Warner. A couple of surprises here, as the 49ers usually go into the season with 4 tight ends on their roster, and the release of Michael Pruitt, who had a $500,000 guarantee, was a little bit of a surprise. Known primarily for his blocking, injuries early in training camp ultimately helped Pruitt back, and the role would be taken over by Warner. On the offensive line, the 49ers kept 8. Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Alex Mack, Daniel Brunskill, and Mike McGlinchey will be the starters. Rookies Aaron Banks and Jalen Moore, and then Tom Compton. Did not see Tom Compton making this final roster, although he has the ability to play both guard and center. The 49ers really need Jalen Moore to step up and keep Compton off the field. While Alex Mack is the only center, Brunskill showed that he can be a solid backup if necessary last year. San Francisco hopes to avoid having musical chairs like they had last season for the second time in a row. Along the defensive line, the 49ers have Samson Ebukam, D. Ford, Kevin Givens, Eric Armstead, Zach Kerr, DJ Jones, Kentavious Street, Maurice Hurst, Nick Bosa, Arden Key, and Javon Kinlaw. The 49ers may have the deepest defensive line group in the NFL. Among the names not listed here on the active roster is Jordan Willis. The defensive end will be on the reserve suspended list for the first 6 weeks of the season due to violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances. At linebacker, the 49ers kept 5. Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and Azeez Al-Shaair, along with converted safeties Marcel Harris and Demetrius Flanagan-Foles. Warner, Greenlaw, and Al-Shaair all started for the 49ers in 2020. And Harris and Demetrius Flanagan-Foles, as I mentioned, are both former safeties that have now transitioned over to new positions. Both should be able to contribute on special teams. Defensive back, the 49ers kept 10. Cornerbacks Jason Verrett, Emmanuel Mosley, nickel cornerback K'Waun Williams, along with Ambry Thomas, DeAndre Lenore, and Devontae Harris. At safety, you have Jaquaski Tart and Jimmy Ward, along with Talanoa Hufanga and Devon Wilson. Although they're rookies, Ambry Thomas and DeAndre Lenore will be the primary backups at cornerback, with Lenore also backing up Williams in the slot. The 49ers claimed Harris from the Baltimore Ravens earlier this month. He made one start for Baltimore in 2020. If he can remain healthy, Jaquaski Tart will join Jimmy Ward as a starter at safety. Devon Wilson is a veteran special teams contributor, and that will also be able to play a primary role for Hufanga to start the season. As far as the specialist, no surprises here. The 49ers kept Robbie Gould, Mitch Wishnowsky, and Tabor Pepper. Pepper has drawn high praise throughout the training camp from special teams coordinator Richard Hightower for his snapping ability, while Gould and Wishnowsky provide a veteran presence.